Hello, summoners, and welcome back to our series from A to Z. I'm Whitebeard, and today we'll be taking a look at a very interesting champion. She is a demigod, she is a spirit, she is Anivia, the Cryo Phoenix. So let's get to it.
They were lost long ago.
Anivia is an ancient Freljordian demigod who represented the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, associated in the essence with the changing seasons. To those who venerate her, she is the elemental soul of the Freljord, a symbol of hope, and a sacred catalyst of change. Stories passed down through the ages often tell of how she rewards those who are kind and humble. On the rare occasion a mortal glimpses her, or at least claims to, she is described as a noble spirit bird of ice, with glittering wings that span the heavens and a piercing cry that can be heard over even the fiercest storm. The songs of the nomadic Nutai tribe tell how Anivia's birth first brought snow into the world. When she burst from her giant egg of ice, tiny pieces of it were hurled into the sky, and it has fallen as snow ever since. And according to the sagas of the Mourncrow tribe, the frigid winds that scour the Freljord originate from the first beats of her wings. Indeed, the full power of winter is Anivia's to command, and to those who seek to discreet her, she is a bitter foe. When roused to anger, she can cleave fortresses and mountains, and her screech can summon blizzards cold enough to shatter steel. One of the most enduring and respected beliefs in the Anivia's greatest gift to the Freljord was the creation of true ice. Infused with elemental magic, this unmelting substance is pure and potent, and the greatest seers and ice mages have long strived to use shards of true ice to amplify their might. While weapons that have even a tiny sliver forged into them, they are deadly beyond belief. When mortals first arrived in the Freljord, Anivia welcomed them. Seeing that they could not withstand the cold, she guided them to secluded valleys where they could shelter, become established, and slowly harden themselves against the elements. She nurtured and watched over them for those first precarious centuries, and they, in turn, worshipped her. Anivia hoped that these newly arrived tribes would remain unified in defending the Freljord from outsiders. But slowly, infighting and blood feuds became all too common, making an invasion inevitable. According to legend, a greedy southern king marched his warriors up through the mountains, seeking to claim dominion over the Northlands, and shackle their wild magic for himself. So enraged was Anivia at the outsiders' hubris and disrespect that she blasted them with a snowstorm that lasted a century and a day. Scattered standing stones can still be seen on the scoring plain, which the locals claim that are all the remains of the ancient army. Other tales include the Avarosan legend of Ola, Shadowspear, an iceborn war mother who was favored by Anivia for saving a young hawk from a rime-fanged wolf. Across her lifetime, the Cryo Phoenix protected Ola from harm, and when she finally fell in battle, having witnessed almost 100 winters, it's said that Anivia welcomed her with wings spread wide. If all these legends are true, then Anivia must have witnessed the rise and fall of countless mortal civilizations. While there are still some dwindling remnants of those earlier times, most have long been forgotten and buried beneath millennia of ice. But this cannot touch Anivia herself. The sagas speak of how she has been struck down and slain a handful times through history, though she's always reborn. For as long as the Freljord exists, her soul is immortal. While it might be hundreds of years or even thousands of years, she will rise again. Each rebirth coincides with the dawning of a new era. Thus her appearance, while regarded as a wondrous blessing, is often the harbinger of something terrible on the horizon. Once, it is said, she sacrificed herself against a march of towering Bellstriders. Anivia knew she could not slay those colossal creatures, and so she plunged into the ice beneath their feet, shattering her own body in order to entomb them. Recently, some claim Anivia has hatched from the egg once more, and that she has appeared before the new leader of the Avarosans, the War Mother, Ash. In her, perhaps, Anivia sees one who may be able to finally reunite the Freljord. Yet, if the Cryo Phoenix has indeed returned, as more and more shamans and spirit walkers proclaim, then it must be asked what great threat she has come to face. As for her history, Anivia was released on July 10, 2009, back in the alpha stage, and unlike other champions at that time, she was one of the very few champions to actually receive buffs since she was pretty weak early on. 3 patches later, Anivia had a funny bug where after getting Morgana's Black Shield, the egg could run around. Wasn't so funny for her enemies though, and of course was fixed by Riot developers. Later on, she had a bonus on her passive where attacking her in her reverse state would trigger an automatic call for help. And she kept having these weird bugs and changes for years. For instance, in May 2010, she had this bug where her W could trap someone if casted on them. She experienced a lot of buffs and nerfs altogether, and due to her powerful sieging kit, definitely she was a good pick for competitive play. Let's see what Froggen says about Anivia back in 2017 Summer Split.
While others bicker, we prepare. When the time is right, we will strike.
Anivia is mostly strong at just controlling certain areas. Like, she's pretty good at defending towers, like playing around sieges, both when she's the one sieging and when the enemy is sieging.
So on top of 4 Drakes, if that's ever in the hands of Cloud9, we'll see this one end quite fast. Impact Zanya's? No time. He got popped.
In teamfights, she can kind of do everything. She can engage for the team because she can obviously wall immobile targets off, but she's also good at controlling where the enemy team is gonna go. So it's really hard to flank against Anivia because she can just wall off the guy that's flanking and force a 5v4 situation.
You see those moves from Froggen? He was zoning out the DPS from the enemy squads. They got to turn everything on to Someday there.
In the early game, I think she has a kind of hard time really controlling the minion wave because she needs to build up a mana pool first. But when she has a couple of items, she's probably the best mate in the game at wave clearing without the enemy team being able to get any hits off in the tower. One of the most unique parts about Anivia would be the wall. If there's a good opportunity to really get an advantage early on in the game, then I will skill my wall. But most of the time, I will always skill my Q twice and then my E twice, and then just skip wall until level 8. You can cancel dashes or jumps if you wall on top of them when they use their dash ability, because Anivia's wall does push them slightly, so you can stop Rek'Sai tunnels, Kha'Zix jumps, Jarvan, EQ combo. You can stop anything.
Actually going to provide chase here. There's a teleport. Proxen gets denied by the wall from Froggen.
Trying to get some control ward locked down.
Ooh, got contract.
Sazzle, he's down.
If you're chasing someone and you know they have flash up, you don't wall off the entire path, you kind of just wall off some of it, so in case they do flash, you can still run around the wall and keep on chasing. If you wall someone that has flash up, they'll just flash over the wall and then your team cannot chase them any longer, right? There's no point in expending all your flashes to chase a guy.
His favorite Froggen, whoa, on the chase! And he picks off GBM and suddenly it's going bad to worse. A wall, Quas trying to run, another chase in for Keith.
The game will always try to make you walk the shortest path to where you're clicking. You need to know where the opponent will move if you wall him off, right? So if they click behind the wall, they can either go to the left or the right side. They can kind of choose, but if you angle your wall a little bit, then even if they click behind the wall, they will walk a certain path. So if you angle it a little bit, you can force them to walk into the ultimate. If they don't react fast enough to that, then you just combo them with the Q on top of the wall while they're in the ultimate, and it's a bunch of damage.
For sure, 14-8 on his team. Smoothie going down
There you
here.
go.
Who else got Froggen? Yep.
The start of having to use Anivia's ultimate is that during laning phase, you always use it on top of the minion wave. There's very few situations where you wouldn't do that. The ultimate works in the way that every half second there will be a tick of damage coming up. Whenever you cancel your ultimate or the ultimate gets cancelled, it gives a last tick of damage. You can do it instantly after 1 tick of damage. You save some mana by doing it, so you can also get a slightly higher damage output. It's kind of like a burst of damage. Anivia's egg kind of stops all debuffs, which is great, but that doesn't stop TP. So if you're just getting egged and you're trying to TP somewhere, then it still works. If they egg you and you got the TP off in time, you will get TP'd there. I did it at All Stars in Paris when I played for Team Ice, when I was still a European.
tactical, but the rest of the team combined. Double in picking up the kill. Shy's in all kinds of trouble now as well. Wei Zhao has come in there. Frozen
teleporting out of there.
has his egg. Is he going to get away? There is the TP to get away.
One of the ways to use Anivia's egg in laning phase is just to let people use their mana, and when they get low on mana, if they egg you, it's alright because they cannot kill you. So as long as you know the enemy jungler isn't around and that they cannot kill you in egg, then you'll respawn and be really healthy. You know that, okay, if they're out of mana, they need to base, like they can't really push that fast, and then afterwards you can push out the wave and then you have the control.
Territory marked. Oh,
And
goes in,
now has-
and he's gonna
Oh!
maybe get an egg out of this one, but can he scramble him up for breakfast? I don't think he's got the damage.
For me as a player, the reason why I play other control mages really well is because of how well I teamfight with Anivia, and I learned it from Anivia and then I just implemented it onto other champions too to see if it's very similar or not, and it just happens to be that most control champions are very similar in the way they operate and the way they want to position. I'm pretty proud that everybody is, like, at least everybody that plays Anivia will know me.
Oh my, no, Faker, you can't recall here. There's a minion wave coming. Faker just loses the game.
It's
Faker
4
literally
CS,
just
that's
lost the
all
game
he
on
has
that
to get.
recall.
Easy
This is it,
peasy,
Froggen's
he's
got
gonna
it.
watch it from the fountain. GG, the Anivia King is still the king.
As for the matchups, Anivia is really strong against Irelia, Ryze, Akali, Syndra, and Yone, but she's really weak against Pyke, Rumble, Seraphine, Xerath, and Echo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to tune in for the upcoming videos. Whitebeard out.